Give some more stuff away in a little bit, but for now, I just kind of, before we play some more songs, I just want to open it up if anybody has any thoughts or questions or comments or anything you'd like to talk about. So I'm here.
How about your experience in Africa?
My experience in Africa. I was fortunate enough to go to Africa through a missions trip called Heart for Africa. And you can look them up online, heartforafrica.org. I spent 12 days in the Kingdom of Swaziland, flew into Johannesburg. It was like a 6-hour bus ride there. The Kingdom of Swaziland has the highest HIV rate in the world, highest orphan rate in the world. Life expectancy is 29. You don't see too many people with gray hair there. Very few people over 40. The kids are amazing. The country's amazing. There's incredible infrastructure there. There's a lot of positive signs there. It just needs a little love. And that's pretty much why I went. I went to play. I played every night with the group, with the organization. We gave concerts. But during the day, I did something which I've never done, which is put the bass down and basically work in the field, so to speak. We planted a garden, we played with the kids. We did a lot of life stuff, and it's definitely changed my perspective as a musician. And I guess what I would say to your question is, anytime you can do something to serve other people or do something greater than yourself, to give of yourself, it comes back to you, but it comes back to you, not in a selfish way, but it comes back to ways that you can't imagine. So for me, just the experiences I had with some of the children, some of the people that I met, has influenced me on the bass and influenced my music and touched my heart. And there's no music school in the world that can teach that. So I would just recommend anybody that has something along those lines to just try that sometime. It'll do wonders not only for your spirit, but for your music. With that, you get a Badula keychain. Nice Padula keychains. Okay. Yes. Anybody who asks a question gets something for free. How about that? Maybe I'll entice you guys. How you doing? We've got a bass man in the house. Famous. Oh, come on now. You're a bad dude, man. Thank you for being here. We got a lot of great players here, actually. So I'm honored and a lot of good friends. So, anybody have any thoughts? Yes, sir. This setup, I recently got an endorsement with Aguilar Amplification, and I experimented with their different cabinets. I personally really love the 15, and I really like the 210. But I went ahead and did the full over the cliff and went ahead and got the 12 as well. So I'm basically right now, and I don't carry this out very often, but all three speakers work well together, but I found, for me, I think I prefer the 210s and the 15. And right now, the 12 is actually any of the loop stuff I was doing was running through the 12. And this other cabinet I have, which isn't Aguilar, but that is simply just a drum monitor for the loops that I was doing just to spit out that drum thing so they hopefully wouldn't break up the bass in the speakers. But I'm real happy with it, and I do have the DD751, which is a hybrid solid state twos. They're a great company, and highly recommend them. Yes, sir. Anyone? Oh, free something. How would you like an Analysis Plus cable? It's a Mac Addict. You're welcome. All right. Looks like they've got some chats going on the internet here. If anybody's chatting, I'll be happy to answer a question through the chats. Okay, so I see the chat is working on the internet, and so you got some viewers on there. So if anybody wants to chime in a question, I'll be happy to throw it your way. But until then, is there anything else?
That on the website, just YouTube right
For what?
on your.
That's through livestream.com. Excuse me. And that is I set up an account and it's being streamed and it's being recorded. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Technology, huh? So, this isn't a download, this is really real. So, mistakes and all, but that's part of it. Yes? Thank you. The fine gentleman asked the kind of music I listen to in a nutshell. Just so these people here that might not have heard the question. I'm really inspired by everything. I mean, when I first started, I actually started in a 80s hair band rock thing with Metallica and all that. Which is kind of odd, isn't it? Playing the kind of music I'm doing, I started with that. But I love all kinds of music, and I went into rock and the Police and stuff. And then it was later that I got into Miles Davis. It was actually the Bitches Brew record because it was more on the rock side, so I could really relate to it. And when I heard that, then I started really tracing lineage back of Miles Davis, and then got into Charlie Parker and Duke Ellington, and then almost started from the beginning of Louis Armstrong on the jazz side and worked all the way back up, just to familiarize myself with not only the bass players, but all the instrumentalists that were part of those groups. So really, I would say all of that is inspiring to me. I think Duke Ellington said it best when he said there's only two kinds of music, and that's good and bad. And so the way I look at it is, I don't really think about styles. I just listen to the music, and if I like it, it inspires me. If it doesn't move me, then it doesn't move me. It's nothing against that artist. It doesn't touch my soul, and it's just the way it is with some people. But if you ask me who I was listening to now, as far as the artists that are really inspiring me now, there's an artist named Imogen Heap. She's an electronic artist, and on my CD I did a lot of soundscaping and a lot of more electronica type of sounds that hopefully you haven't heard before, and then try to use the bass as a vehicle to play melodies on that and improvise over that. But I was really inspired by, because most of my music's instrumental, I do try to tell a story, as you suggested, so I try to think in those terms. I try to think visually. And so for me, this last project, the electronica stuff really provided that soundscape, really provided an image, and then that kind of drew things musically. Bass-wise, though, of course, all the greats, Victor Wood, Marcus Miller, Lucille Burbridge, Christian McBride, John Patitucci, all the ones we all love, great. But I don't try to just get stuck listening to bass players. I really try to push myself listening to everybody. That was on a previous CD actually called Decade. You can find the Waterfall song was on there. And that's more world music. That's a downside, I guess, if there's a downside to kind of who I am. I think I'm starting to figure it out finally at my age. I'm so inspired by so many different kinds of music that I think it's hard to pigeonhole. I mean, I don't mean this in any kind of way. I'm just saying pigeonhole like Joseph just does this, because if you listen to a lot of my music, it's really all over the place. And I'm the first to admit that. And record companies hate to hear that because they want you to be very defined for marketing purposes, which I totally get. And almost you have to do that. So I'm trying to be a little more cohesive in my writing and trying to be more focused. But because I'm inspired by so much, I tend to be a little all over the place musically. And I think for me, I don't really think of it in any other way. It's just, again, good and bad music. What inspires me hopefully will inspire other people. But I do need to be a little more focused in my writing, and I'm trying to do that. So you already got the cable, didn't you? How would you like a pack of bass strings? We'll get a couple more, and then we'll get playing some more music. Yes, sir.
What inspired you to create the After Love CD, and at the time did you know you were going to
What inspired me to create the Africa with Love CD? Did I know I was going to Africa when I made it? I did not know I was going to Africa when I made it, and this is the whole ironic thing. I made the CD, and it took quite many months to make the CD, and I co-wrote a song by Dove Award winner Sept. We wrote the title track called To Africa with Love. It's very kind of rock, U2, Coldplay type of vibe, and that was in September, almost about this time last year, and then I didn't find out I was going to Africa until about January. So that whole thing, I can't even explain it. It had nothing to do with my CD, which is what's so ironic about it. I wasn't promoting my CD when I went there. I was actually just working with this organization called Heart for Africa, but it had nothing to do with it. So the way those two things cross, I can't even explain it. There's no explanation. If you believe in God, then I would say it was a God thing. What do you want, sir?
All right.
Thanks to Analysis Plus for these great things. Yes.
See here. A lot of chit chat.
No questions on the internet. It's a lot of chit chat, but I appreciate it. So maybe just one more. Let's get playing some more music. How about it? Yes, sir. How do I find? I mentioned God a couple of times. How do I find inspiration with that? Or is it? Absolutely, it is an inspiration. I mean, obviously, God's such an ambiguous thing. You know, it means so many things to many people. I have my own ideas about that. But to me, I feel like we all have gifts. They may be music, they may be marketing, they may be a business head, they may be sweeping the streets. I don't know. Everybody has gifts. And I think if you tune into those gifts and be grateful that we're all above 6 feet of ground and just roll with it every day, I think we can make a difference. You know, and for me, it's music, and there's a lot of different hats with that. But I definitely, when I play, I try to hopefully make that connection to God, make that connection to that source, because I feel like it is a gift. So I just want to say thank you when I play. That's typically how I do that. Okay. Bass strings. All right, let's play some more music. Let's bring up Wayne Byer and Chris Blackwell again. Give it a hand, please.